46 centimeters of snow at Pearson Airport, nearly 60 centimeters downtown. How fast can the GTHA bounce back from the most snow ever recorded? We're looking at that this evening.
Lines shut down, buses stuck in the snow, the latest plaguing the TTC and how riders are coping.
And a deadly shooting at a plaza in Vaughan. CP24's crime analyst Steve Ryan joins us live from the scene at Weston and Colossus with details of what happened.
This is Live at 5.
Good evening. I'm Bakari Savage.
I'm Phil Perkins. You're watching Live at 5.
And we're following breaking news. Police are investigating a deadly targeted shooting in Vaughan.
Yeah, let's go live to CP24's crime analyst Steve Ryan. He's in the Weston Road and Colossus Drive area with the latest. Steve, what do we know?
Well, Phil Bakari, please tell us, as we just reported, that this was a targeted shooting. It is now a homicide. Winges Road is the location. It's a commercial area, and York Regional Police told us that just after 1 o'clock today, a man was shot multiple times before a suspect vehicle, which was a dark-colored SUV, was seen leaving the scene. Typically, and often, when you have a targeted shooting, when there's multiple rounds being fired at the intended target, it certainly does suggest that not only that it is a targeted, but there is some sort of personal agenda or some sort of message being sent. Oftentimes you shoot and then you flee. When somebody stands there and shoots time after time after time, typically police find that there is a message being sent. So having said that, the police do believe that this is a targeted shooting and may or may not be related. Oftentimes there's not a lot of coincidences when it comes to criminal investigations. Just a short distance away west of here on Islington Avenue near Woodbridge Road in Woodbridge, a dark-colored SUV was on fire. And the fire department responded to it as well. That happened within 45 minutes to an hour after this reported shooting at 1 p.m. So police are now seeing if they are connected to one another. And we do not have any descriptions of suspects yet as the police continue with their investigation. And here's more from York Police we heard from just a short time ago.
While this call was happening, we received an additional call for a vehicle fire in the area of Kipling Avenue, just north of Woodbridge Avenue. We are looking to determine if that call is in relation to the shooting investigation, as a black SUV was seen fleeing the scene.
So police are looking for witnesses not only to this shooting, but also to the vehicle fire that the officer just talked about. If, in fact, these are related, any information that you might have to either occurrence could help the police put this pieces together when they are looking for evidence. The command vehicle arrived on scene just a short time ago, and the forensic identification services are here as well, and they are collecting all the forensic evidence. Important for the neighborhood to know, though, it is a targeted shooting, and police say there is no threat to public safety. Back to you guys.
All right, and with that, though, still concerning, but we do appreciate that info. Thank you very much, Steve. All right, let's talk about snowstorm. The GTA has moved on, but the cleanup is far from over. 46 centimeters of snow fell at Pearson Airport as of midnight. That is the highest snowfall total for January 25th on record and brings the total amount of snowfall for January to 88.2 centimeters. That makes this month the snowiest month on record. Downtown got even more snow yesterday with 56 centimeters of accumulation.
Right now, we have 600 plows deployed across the roads and sidewalks. Over 1,300 city staff and contractors are mobilized citywide. Since the last major storm, we've maintained surge capacity with over 100 additional staff redeployed, and we are continuing to add more. Through Toronto's Emergency Operations Centre, we're coordinating a unified response across city divisions and agencies. Plowing operations, TDC, police, fire, and paramedics all working together.
This storm will require a process that's going to take a few days for us to move along. But as the mayor says, we're well on our way on that process. The plowing is underway, and it will continue until we open up enough space on the roadways, both local roads, arterial roads, collectors, and the expressways, that we can then move into the second phase of the operation, which is major scale removal of snow, which I know is going to be very important to many people in local neighborhoods where the snow is piled high. It does take us some time to get there because we have to get through the plowing before we can get to that large-scale operation. But one of the things we changed this year for Toronto was having surge capacity so we could start some targeted snow removal earlier.
We have, I think, over almost 600 or more heating devices that are focused on critical subway infrastructure to make sure that it doesn't freeze and that stays warm so that subway operations can continue. So we've got hundreds of people out there now, thousands of employees overnight and into today and into the rush hour to make sure that we're serving people. And we'll be ready for rush hour. We appreciate your patience. Again, thank everyone who's been working together in a coordinated effort with the city to make sure that we're providing a reasonable level of service out across the city of Toronto.
And Toronto residents are working to clear their own driveways and sidewalks. This is after yesterday's record snowfall in the city.
Yeah, CP24's Beatrice Baseman has been chatting with residents in East York. She's at O'Connor and Woodbine. I don't know about you, but I've been shoveling for, it feels like, 24 hours, Beatrice. My legs are sore, my core is sore, my shoulders are sore. Are people feeling the same way?
Isn't that your neighborhood?
That's my hood. We got a lot of stuff. We got a little bit more lake effect.
See a photo of you, Phil, jumping into a snowbank, not wearing a shirt? Was that your own cold plunge?
Both my kids were up at 6 in the morning. That was at like 10 a.m. I'm like, I got to work till 11:30. I need something stronger than coffee. So that's what I did.
Well, that'll wake you right up. Look, I mean, this is high snow, right? And you can just see the tips of these shrubs all peeking out. This is essentially what Phil had jumped into, this much snow for his morning wake up. And I mean, when you talk about people shoveling, Phil's been shoveling. You might have to come help some neighbors, Phil, because this driveway still completely untouched. These two vehicles, I believe they're actually both SUVs, lodged in this driveway, and certainly they're not going anywhere. The snow piled essentially past the bottom of the doors. You can see the mirrors poking out. These folks are going to have a lot of work to do once they actually decide to come out and start shoveling. A lot of these neighbors, though, they've been hard at work. And actually, a sidewalk plow just came through here a few minutes ago. So the sidewalks here at O'Connor and Woodbine, they're looking pretty good. That's not the case everywhere across East York, though, Phil and Bakari. I can tell you we did a drive around the neighborhood earlier this afternoon. There's still a lot of residential streets, the side streets specifically, where plows have not yet been. It is really tough to navigate those side streets. In fact, Main Street, just north of Danforth, generally 2 lanes, 1 lane in each direction. We had trouble getting through there. It's now become a one-way street. There was a fire truck, a couple vehicles behind us. That vehicle, the first responders, obviously having trouble navigating that street too. Obviously, that's some cause for concern when you've got this much snow and when the snow cleanup is expected to take several days. What I've noticed today, though, it's a lot of people helping other people, and that's the good news. I mean, the Good Samaritans, they are alive and well in our city. I saw one guy arriving at a daycare at Queen and Woodbine with his snowblower, saying simply that he wanted to clear the sidewalk around the daycare to make it safer for the kids, the parents, and the people who work there. And I saw, some neighbors just showing up with a shovel, looking for someone who needed help. That neighbor found a guy whose car was stuck at the bottom of his driveway and helped him get that car out. So people doing some, really good teamwork here across the city, but a lot of digging to be done. Here's some reaction from East York. When you opened your front door, what was your reaction seeing all this record snowfall in our city?
I thought, Florida sounds nice right about now.
It's horrible, honestly. Originally, I'm from Alberta, so I'm a little bit accustomed to it, but I never expected it to be like this in Toronto.
I've been to my father-in-law's place. I've been kind of all over just doing this all day.
Armed with a shovel, a snowblower,
everything. I got it all.
He's got it all. I mean, those are the tools you need to make things like this, little pathways, essentially from the front door to the sidewalk. You can see right into someone's backyard, though. A whole lot of snow, almost 2 feet of it, about hip high here in this part of the city. And so a lot of work for a lot of people. You don't need to go to the gym. You can get your exercise right here. And now you've got, like Phil suggested, a natural cold plunge to just jump into and wake up.
It's the best. I'm telling you, my heart's still racing. It's a lot of fun.
CP24's Beatrice Baseman live in East York. Thanks a lot. Well, Mississauga also took a major hit from the winter storm, with some areas getting up to 45 centimeters of snow. And crews will likely be spending the entire day clearing roads and sidewalks. As CP24 spoke with Mississauga Mayor Carolyn Parrish this morning to find out how her city is responding.
We've cleared 2,450 kilometers of sidewalks. We've done 134,000 residential windrows, those nasty things that the plows build at the end of your driveway. Anybody whose street has been missed or driveway has been missed, just call 311 and we send somebody out right away.
And Brampton Mayor Patrick Brown says crews are hard at work getting rid of the snow as well.
It was a big job. You know, we have our crews that have been out all night long. We've got 4,000 kilometers of road to clean, 1,000 kilometers of sidewalk, 2,600 transit stops. And so we have 400 snow removal vehicles out working away. It's going to take us about 48 hours to clean up, but we're up for the challenge.
Okay, it's now 10 after 5. Let's get a check on the roads with CP24's traffic specialist, Adjoa and Yabwa.
Well, yeah, Bakari, the cleanup is definitely underway on most of the major area highways, and you're running into some significant issues that are happening on the QEW. This is if you're headed Toronto bound. This is the ramp to Trafalgar. A lot of these exit ramps still need to be fully cleaned, and a lot of the times the left or the right lane still filled with snow, which resulted in this vehicle spinning out, ending up in the ditch. So crews are on scene. You will find the two right lanes of that exit ramp blocked as a result. And then problems on the QEW, Niagara bound. It was 2 transport trucks. Now just one remains on the Niagara bound QEW. This is just as you approach Dixie, right lane and shoulder blocked with this collision. We are dealing with a stall. This is on the eastbound 403 exit ramp to here, Ontario. Find that left lane is occupied. And as well, we have problems up on the 401. This is the westbound 401, just as you make your way through Nielsen in the collectors. Stalled vehicle blocking the right lane and shoulder. You want to drive with a bit of extra caution. Outside of camera view, northbound 400, a little bit slow going as you head into Vaughan, just as you make your way through King Road. Reports of a collision blocking the right lane.
This CP24 traffic report is brought to you by 407 ETR. Enjoy the journey with a stress-free commute.
Send it over to Samantha at TTC Control Center. Just wondering, Samantha, hearing of issues that are possibly on the go on TTC Line 1 and Line 2?
Yes, thanks, Adjoa. So our crews continue to work hard to clear snow from our tracks that were causing some service suspensions throughout the day today. So looking underground, we still have a service suspension on Line 1 between Eglinton and St. Clair stations, and looking at service on Line 2 between Victoria Park and Kennedy stations. This is while crews clear snow from open cut areas that aren't covered by our tunnels. Now, shuttle buses are running for both of those sections of the line. As well as an alternative, we've partnered with our friends at Go Transit, so you can use your TTC fare on any Go Transit service within the city limits to get you on your way. Now, looking at service above ground, service on Line 6 is running smoothly right now, but we do have shuttle buses running on the entire length from Finch West to Humber College stops if there does turn to be any issues on Line 6. Now, looking at bus and streetcar service, things are moving well with some delays and some route detours. Particularly, we do want to advise motorists to make sure they are parking clear of our streetcar tracks. We are noticing that if your car is parked a little bit jutting out, blocking our streetcar tracks, this could cause delays for thousands of passengers. So make sure you leave enough space when parking your vehicle for our streetcars to move safely. Now, for more live up-to-date transit updates, make sure to check us out on ttc.ca. And that's it for us here at Transit Control. Back to the newsroom.
All right, Samantha with the TTC Transit Control. Thanks so much. Appreciate that. It is 5:13. Feels like minus 16. You're watching Live at 5.
And coming up, we're going to have more coverage on the aftermath of the storm, including the impact on travelers at Pearson. And if you're traveling today, you may still experience delays at Pearson.
Yeah, the snow forced the cancellation of more than 500 flights yesterday alone. Airport staff have had a full crew in place to remove snow from the runways and the tarmac to keep flights moving. We spoke to GTHA spokesperson Sean Davidson about the current situation.
We've made investments in state-of-the-art snow clearing equipment over the last few years, and that's really paying off. And they've been out clearing taxiways, runways, and these gates, continuous circus through the day, the night. Also, the de-icing facility as well. The planes that have been departing have been going through there. So it's really been all hands on deck. We've made sure that we've had appropriate staffing in place to be sure that we can be clearing this snow as quickly as possible. Inside the airport, our emergency operations center has been open since the snow began to fall. And so we brought everybody from the different airlines and we've different stakeholders together to coordinate the airport-wide response to this. So it's been everybody here since the snow started to get operations back to normal as quickly as possible.
And here's what travelers were saying today while waiting for their flights.
How long has your flight been delayed?
2.5 hours so far.
You say so far because?
I mean, I hope it's just 2.5 hours, fingers crossed. But I mean, as long as we leave at this point, as long as we leave, we're okay.
Our flight has already been delayed, I think about 3.5 hours. We were traveling from Sault Ste. Marie and we got informed on Friday that our Sunday night flight was already delayed. So we had to book with Porter for Saturday to get here sooner. And then we got the update this morning that our Cancun flight was delayed already.
That's a tough way to start. All right, well, make sure you check your status of your flight before heading out to the airport.
And a cold weather warning has been issued for the city of Toronto.
A bitter cold will grip the city tonight, feeling like minus 25, feels like minus 16 right now. Winds gusting up to 50 kilometers an hour. It'll then warm up a little bit during the day tomorrow.
And the city is reminding those experiencing homelessness that all warming centers, including surge capacity sites, are open.
City says there are more than 100 additional shelter spaces, and the Street to Homes outreach teams are going to be out there trying to bring people inside.
It gives me joy that during this season, we are able to dedicate the use of our auditorium for serving members of our community who need a safe place to be. So at Cecil Community Center, through the support of the City of Toronto staff, we have up to 30 cots supporting persons who need a safe place to be. We have when we're at capacity, we ask individuals to use to sit while we navigate community resources to find them places to go.
And that was the executive director of the Cecil Community Center talking about the role of surge capacity sites. Well, the snow has led to some closures in the city. All Toronto Public Library branches, they're closed. Classes have been suspended at Toronto Metropolitan and York University's. U of T opened its St. George campus this afternoon, but its Scarborough and Mississauga locations, they're going to remain closed for the day. George Brown, Centennial, Humber colleges, they're all closed. The Toronto Zoo is also closed for the day. And we have an entire list of storm-related closures on CP24.com.
It's 5:19, feels like minus 16, watching live at 5.
And up ahead, the Prime Minister was in town today, meeting with Premier Doug Ford. He announced a GST rebate is coming for some Canadians.
Welcome back. Prime Minister Mark Carney announcing a 25% hike to the GST credit today to help lower income Canadians deal with the high cost of groceries.
And for more on when you could see a boost to your GST rebate, let's turn to CP24's Melissa, Doug, and Melissa.
Hey there, Bakari and Phil. Okay, so this is not for every Canadian. What we're hearing from the government is that about 12 million Canadians are going to get this boost. It's going to come in the form of a greater GST payment. So people normally receive those who have a lower household income. And starting this summer, you're going to be getting a little bit more. Now, it's not forever. It's a temporary boost that people are going to see, lasting for 5 years. 25% is the added increase that is going to be experienced after this year. This year, though, it's a greater one. Starting in July, a one-time boost of 50%. This is all designed, what we're hearing from Prime Minister Mark Carney today, is to tackle the affordability crisis. Obviously, a lot of people dealing with the rising costs in food. According to Stats Canada, back in December is when we learned that the year-over-year boost in the cost of groceries was at about 5%. Some particular items, of course, when you're looking at coffee, when you're looking at beef, those increases even more than that. So this increase to the GST payment designed to help with those rising costs. Again, Carney was asked today why it's not going out to everyone. And he says because lower income Canadians, a greater share of their budget goes to household goods, goes to groceries, and that's why they are going to see this increase in payment. Here's what else Carney has to say.
Right now, a family of four receives about $1,100 a year with the existing GST credit. With the new Canada Groceries and Essentials benefit, that same family will receive up to $1,890 this year and about $1,400 a year for each of the next 4 years. A single person receives about $540 a year with the existing credit. With the new benefit, that person will receive up to $950 this year and about $700 a year for the next 4 years.
There are also some boosts in spending that are going to the areas of food producers, suppliers, that kind of thing, to increase productivity, streamline production. The idea there that kind of investment would help lower the cost for all Canadians when it comes to going to the grocery store. We are getting some reaction from the opposition. Conservative Andrew Scheer calling this a Trudeau-era policy, saying it's basically just giving Canadians back their own money in this instance. Basically, the question is there, can the current Liberal government do more to lower the cost of food here? Back to you.
Live from the newsroom, CP24's Melissa Duggan. Well, Marineland has received a conditional approval to send its remaining whales to the U.S. The update came from Federal Fisheries Minister Joanne Thompson. That was today. The move comes after Marineland presented what it called an urgent rescue solution to the federal government last week to keep the 30 belugas alive. Thompson says she'll issue final permits once the Niagara Falls theme park provides further information.
It's 5:24, feels like minus 16. You're watching Live at 5. When we come back, the record-breaking snow led to the closure of most schools in the GTHA. We'll check out how some students are super bummed out about it, clearly. Welcome back. Well, a storm meant a tough commute and several rounds of shoveling. I know I did like at least 3 remaining in the GTHA, but others out enjoying it. Toboggan Hills in Toronto were the place to be to get in on the snow day. Extra soft powder out there. The storm closed schools across the region. As we mentioned, some colleges and universities also shut down campuses. That meant kids of all ages were out taking advantage of what turned out to be an extended weekend. Another one.
What's the best part about having a snow day? The fact that you have snow, or what is it?
No school. Exactly.
I thought this was going to be the answer. Good job, team. Okay, and I like how we're raising hands. And we're going to go to the one in the back over here.
Sledding.
Sledding? Yeah. What's the answer?
Going to outdoor rinks.
Good answer.
Snowball fights.
Snowball fights. My dude in the back.
Doing whatever you want.
I like this answer. What do we like over here? Hold on, we're trying. Yeah.
Throwing snowballs.
It's 5:28 minus 10. This is Live at 5.
When we come back, we're live at Weston and Colossus Drive in Vaughan. Police say one person was killed after a targeted shooting. We'll get a live update on the investigation in moments. "46 centimeters of snow at Pearson Airport, nearly 60 centimeters downtown. How fast can the GTHA bounce back? We're looking at that this evening.
Lines shut down, buses stuck in the snow, the latest plaguing the TTC, and how riders are coping.
And deadly shooting at a plaza in Vaughan. CP24's crime analyst Steve Ryan joins us live from the scene at Weston Road and Colossus with the details on what happened.
This is Live at 5.
Good evening. I'm Phil Perkins.
I'm Bakari Savage. Welcome to Live at 5.
Well, breaking news, police are investigating a deadly targeted shooting in Vaughan.
Let's go live to CP24's crime analyst Steve Ryan, who's in the Weston and Colossus Drive area. Steve.
Yeah, guys, police tell us that this homicide occurred just after 1 o'clock this afternoon, commercial lot on Winges Road. Police say that they received multiple 911 calls regarding a man being shot. When they arrived on scene, they found the man, multiple gunshot wounds. He was transported to a hospital where he succumbed to his injuries. A black SUV was seen fleeing the scene, and police now believe that that is the suspect vehicle. There is no information right now on the description of suspects, but they are anxiously trying to locate that black SUV. Now, we did hear from York Regional Police a short time ago, and here's some of what we were told. Let's listen.
We know this area would have been busy with vehicle and pedestrian traffic given the time of day. We are appealing to anyone who may have seen anything, heard anything, or captured any dash cam video footage to please contact our investigators, or if you wish to remain anonymous, contact Crime Stoppers. This investigation is a targeted incident, and there's no immediate threat to the public.
About an hour after the shooting, approximately 2 p.m., just west of here near Islington Avenue and Woodbridge Avenue, a black SUV was on fire. There was no occupants in that vehicle. Now police are working to see whether or not that black SUV in Woodbridge was connected to this shooting here, where, remember, a black SUV was seen leaving the scene. Police are asking for anyone with information, either pertaining to the shooting here in this commercial lot or over towards where the vehicle was set on fire. Any piece of information can help police identify the suspect for this homicide and perhaps link these two cases together as a result of the vehicle that was involved. Let's send it back to you guys.
Okay, live in Vaughan, CP24's crime analyst Steve Bryant. Well, the latest snowstorm to hit the GTA, it's moved on, but the cleanup is far from over.
Yeah, 46 centimeters of snow fell at Pearson Airport as of midnight. That is the highest snowfall total for January 25th on record and brings the total amount of snowfall for January to 88.2 centimeters. That makes this month the snowiest month on record. Now, downtown got even more, 56 centimeters of accumulation.
As plowing continues, we're shifting some crews to snow removal, prioritizing hospitals and transit stops. That work is starting now. In the coming days, we'll ramp up removal operations, especially on narrow residential streets where space is tight.
Right now, over 1,300 buses out in the city serving people. So those buses and our streetcars are moving relatively well. So those buses and streetcars will be available for the afternoon commute also. We have over 80 subways cars running through the system. Obviously, as Paul mentioned, where the system is open to the elements, we're forced to do some turnbacks there as hundreds of TTC employees are working to remove the snowpack by hand. And so that work continues so that we can get more regular subway service going.
Well, major service disruptions on the TTC today with some bus stops inaccessible and subways unable to use stretches of the track. That's because they were exposed to the elements.
It's so bad because I'm trying to find my way, but could not find my way out.
You worried you'll be late?
Definitely, I'm going to be late.
Oh, it's so sad because I need to get to work. So I think I'm running it.
So far, I'm finding it pretty good. I remember yesterday was like pretty bad. It was like 45 minutes. I had to wait for a bus, so that was crazy.
A little hard, but I'll just take my time and get going there.
And for the latest on the impact of the weather on the TTC, we're joined live by TTC spokesperson Stuart Green. Stuart, thanks a lot for joining us. Always a pleasure talking to you. Okay, what is going on with the TTC for this evening as passengers try to get home?
Yeah, so we've had some success today in knocking down some of those areas in the open cut, the above ground section of the subway that were heavily impacted by the snow and get those back in service. So we're now fully functioning in the west end of line 2. We got Kipling to Islington back. We've got the section on line 1 on the west side of line 1 between Shepherd West and St. Clair West back. We're working right now to get back the section between St. Clair and Eglinton stations, as well as the section out in the east end of line 2 between Kennedy and Warden. So we've made some progress. We hope to have as much service back as possible, as soon as possible. I don't have a crystal ball, unfortunately. I wish I did. But in those areas where the subway is shut down, we do have shuttle buses running. Thankfully today, because it was a snow day, we've seen fewer riders. And so the shuttle buses are operating fairly well, given all the things that they had to contend with. But and look, we know it's frustrating for people. Our obligation is to get people around the city safely, as safely and quickly as we can. And given that this was a record snowfall, we're managing through that. I've got to say a big shout out to all of those employees from the TTC. We thank the patients, our customers for their patience, but really our employees too, who have been out there literally digging by hand to get the snow out of that power rail in the yards and make sure that along the running rail that we can get service back. So it's been a full court press for us, notwithstanding that we appreciate that there are people who just have to travel, even given the conditions.
Yeah, people go to work, no doubt. I think the frustration is there because we're not in Hawaii. We're in Toronto. This happens every year. So why is it when we get inclement weather, this happens, and then we have staff digging with their hands? Like, we knew this was going to happen for days. Is there anything that could have been done to not have this situation? And it's going to keep snowing. So what measures are going to be in place so people that have to go to work, can rely on the TTC and the fastest route, which would be a subway in some cases?
Yeah, it's fair, Phil. I mean, I would say that this doesn't happen every year. We don't get this amount of snow every year. And certainly we don't get it as quickly as we get it. I mean, this was a record in a number of ways. I will say that we have an extreme weather and a winter storm plan in place that works for us in most storms. This is not most storms. This is unlike any other storm we've had ever in Toronto. I mean, it's just it dumped a record amount of snow. So, we do things like we keep trains running in the open cut areas to make sure that we can keep the tracks as clear as we possibly can. We do things like mainline storage. So instead of putting the trains in the yard where they could have trouble getting out, this is a lesson we learned several years ago after a bad storm. I think it was 2018. We had a very bad winter storm. So now we store the trains in the tunnels instead of in the yards overnight, and that works very well for us. That allowed us to have 80 subways running today in the areas in the underground where they could run. Really, it was that open, exposed area that was our biggest challenge. The on-street performance, by the way, was pretty good, thanks in large part to the city snow clearing. They really worked with us to identify areas that are priorities for us in terms of maybe hilly areas where buses have a bit of trouble. They cleared those streets out. The streetcars were operating quite well. We did have a derailment this morning it's unclear if that was weather related, but we got that sorted out. So there have been a number of challenges that we've had, but we've kept the system moving as best and as safely as we can. But again, it's not to diminish the frustration that people feel, and we absolutely understand that, but we're absolutely doing our level best for this record storm.
And Stuart, before we wrap up, can you tell us what happened with Line 6 and the latest with that?
Yeah, so I think most people by now know that Line 6 has had some challenges with switches in the colder weather and the snow. We don't maintain that line. We are the operator of that line. That line is maintained by Mosaic, which is contracted to Metrolinx. So we give them our advice, and we operate the system as best we can. I think the CEO of Metrolinx himself has even talked about some of the issues. So it's a bit of a known issue. I would remind people, though, that we are in what's called the soft opening phase. This was always intended to be a learning phase until the spring, when we launch into what we would call full service with the later operating hours. So there's a lot of learning to be happening there for the maintainer as well as for us as the operator. We're working very collaboratively. We all want better transit across the entire city, including on Finch West. So we're all working to that end.
All right, Stu Green, you have a tough gig, but you do it, and we appreciate it, especially on days like this. Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.
Of course. All right, speaking of TTC, there's no service between Eglinton and Bloor Young stations, as Stuart was mentioning, and no service between Kipling and Jane stations, but I think he did say something along the lines that they have now brought that back. Okay, so don't listen to what I just said. Stuart gave us an update. They're still working on a couple stretches on the subway to bring service back. So in the meantime, let's talk about the roads. Address Yabwa. 401 looked okay to me.
You know what? It's pretty good for the most part, but don't be deceived. The sun's going down, and there's a lot of right and left lanes that haven't been fully cleaned, and it's resulting in quite a few problems. I have a number of issues happening, and especially on exit ramps. That's always the last to get cleaned up in terms of highway cleaning. So this is the 401 if you're traveling on the westbound side. The collector ramp that takes you to Kennedy at the top of the ramp. It is the left lane that is blocked. Vehicles spun out into the snowy bank, so that's why that left lane is off limits. And then we're dealing with some pretty big issues. This is the 401 westbound, just as you make your way past Renforth. Hard to see, but it is the two right lanes that are blocked if you're traveling in the express following pretty serious collision. Pylons are in place, signifying this could be there for some time. And I was talking about vehicles in the ditch. We have one here. This is a southbound 410 ramp to the westbound 401. A vehicle ended up in the ditch, so you'll find that right-left lane actually blocked with this problem, creating all sorts of delays for commuters that are trying to navigate through. Also problems at the top of the ramp on the eastbound 403 that takes you to here, Ontario. It is the left lane blocked. That is following a stall, and more problems where there's a little bit of snow on the roadway. This is Toronto-bound QEW at Walker's Line. Two-vehicle collision blocking the HOV lane again. Don't be deceived. Even though the snow has stopped, the cleanup continues. I'll send it back to you both.
Yeah, no doubt. Thank you very much, Adjoa. Okay, well, still talking about snow. Toronto residents, they're working still to clear their driveways, sidewalks after yesterday's record snowfall in the city.
And CP24's Beatrice Baseman has been talking to residents in East York, joining us live from O'Connor and Woodbine. So, Beatrice, shoveling, that's been the talk of the town. I just showed PP, Phil Perkins, a video of me, the snow of January 2022, just driving back and forth out of the driveway because I didn't want to shovel. And then a neighbor came over and said, I'll shovel it for you.
I'll help you, yeah. You got to figure it out. We're all neighbors here. We're all working together in situations like this. Well, some people getting to know their neighbors for the first time because of this weather.
For sure. So, Bakari, have you learned how to shovel since? Are you now doing your own driveway to get the vehicle out, or are you still relying on someone else to bail you out?
I don't think Bakari owns gloves.
Come on. Oh, okay. So
it's true. He doesn't. He doesn't. We did Live at 5 outside last week, and Bakari was gloveless, had to borrow some. This guy thinks he can get by in a Toronto winter in a cashmere coat. Not so much, BK. You need one of these. I mean, this is the tool that you're seeing everyone around the city holding today. And if it's not one of these, it's a snowblower, because this is what you need when the snow is so high. It's about hip height. And so here's a home right here on O'Connor at Woodbine, where the driveway still looks exactly like it did first thing this morning. 56 centimetres or so of snow. These two SUVs here absolutely submerged in the white stuff, and about almost 2 feet on top of the vehicles themselves as well. And so it's a familiar look. And so if you're not someone who's been outside to shovel or clear your driveways, your vehicles, your pathways, you're going to have a lot of work and a lot of exercise ahead of you. It has been a tremendous effort all around the city. I mean, we've been driving around, seeing people shoveling, helping one another, getting to know their neighbors, strangers, helping strangers. Isn't that a beautiful thing? There was one guy out there with a shovel at Woodbine and Queen earlier. He didn't know his neighbor, saw his neighbor's vehicle stuck kind of like Bakari, and took it upon himself to just start digging out. He told me he'd been out for hours just helping people that he saw along the way. And so that's what he says 2026 is all about, helping each other, being there for one another, and spreading kindness, also spreading the back pain and knee pain a little bit more across the city as well. But make no mistake, a lot of side streets around East York, they're still a mess. Bakari and Phil, we did a drive-through Main and Danforth. A lot of the streets, the side streets that were at one point one lane of traffic in each direction, so 2 lanes have now become 1 lane, especially because of cars parked for residents who don't necessarily have driveways or garages, parked on the side, making it really, really challenging to get around those side streets. We almost got stuck a few times and saw a fire truck having a bit of difficulty as well getting through one of these streets because it had nowhere to go. We've got a lineup of cars in one direction, and that first responder vehicle has got nowhere to go. But here's some reaction from some people who've been out digging across the city in East York earlier today.
First, I had to make sure it was my car because who knows under all that snow. But so far, we've only been at it for 5 minutes and we're tired.
It's craziness this year in particular. It feels like it's the worst that I've ever seen it. But we're definitely, it's wintertime in Ontario, so we're expecting something. But this is just unprecedented. It's a different level for sure.
Thank God it's not so heavy. So if it were really heavy, it'd be harder to move, obviously. But it's been about a few hours, so I've been helping people throughout the neighborhood.
And we're watching some plows now out here at O'Connor at Woodbine, helping, clear some of the snow that's encroaching into the curb lane and making it challenging for people to get around. For others, though, again, it's a shovel. It's been a long time since I've held one of these. I know I'm beefing on you, Bakari. It's been a long time. I've lived in a condo for a really long time. No snow for me. A nice heated underground parking garage. Oh. I can't complain. So, these folks, let me just help them out just a little bit,
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Oh, no, don't hurt your back. Don't hurt your back. Oh, God.
She needs one of those electric shovels.
Yo. Gotta use the knees.
Gotta use knees. Twist. Use the core. See, you need one of those electric shovels.
Fire up the obliques.
Yes, electric shovels. We have it in the B-roll. Pat Foran did a story on it last week. Beatrice, they're effortless. You don't need a snowblower. You just push it through, and it does a great job. And it's super light snow as well, so it helps.
Okay. Right. Live from East York, CP24's Beatrice Baseman. Right now, it's 5:46 minus 10. This is Live at 5.
It's going to take days, reportedly, to clean up yesterday's record-setting storm. But is more snow coming? We'll talk to Environment Canada's Dave Phillips. Might want to cover your ears. Welcome back. Well, the city continues to clean up after the massive winter storm. Could more be coming?
Okay, right now we're joined live by Environment Canada senior climatologist Dave Phillips to talk about whether we can expect even more snow. Dave, do we get a chance to clean up and breathe? Take a minute to sit down after shoveling snow?
Well, what we're seeing, of course, guys, is ahead is the very cold conditions. And we have a cold warning out for Toronto tonight. I mean, minus 15, but winds howling at 50 kilometers per hour. I mean, wind chills that will freeze flesh in a couple of minutes or so. I mean, it's not nice. You can hardly be out there doing what you have to do. And of course, what we're seeing is not any major snow coming, but flurries. And guys, the best advice you gave to your viewers is block your ears, because I'm a kind of a glass half full guy, and I'm always looking for the bright side of things. I have struggled here to try to find some good news because let's begin. First of all, February is usually the second snowiest month of the year. Even though we have fewer days, it tends to be a little less snow than January, but more than February, more than December. It's also, we still have, guys, if we base it on 30 years of record, base it on normal conditions from now until the end of the year, how many centimeters of snow should we expect from now to the end of the year if this is a normal year? Well, almost 48% of our annual snowfall occurs after this date. So we haven't finished plowing, shoveling, and getting rid of the snow. And last December, it was the snowiest month. We've had 88 centimeters in January. Last February, we had 78 centimeters of snow. I mean, almost 2/3 of the annual total occurred in February. So guys, and I look at the 14-day forecast, guys. I don't see any, what nature giveth, it's not going to take it away. I mean, we can sometimes call on a thaw or a melting or a little bit of rain to get rid of the snow. No, we're going to have to do it ourselves, shovel, plow it, and push it ourselves, because I see over the next little while, nothing but colder temperatures. And the only precipitation I see in the head is snow. Not any major storms, I can't tell you that. But when it does decide to precipitate, it's snow and not rain. So I don't know. The days are getting longer. We're getting an extra, maybe every 2.5 minutes a day is longer, but that sun is not very warm. So, hey, I just don't know. There's no good news here.
Yeah, we got to figure some. One big question for me is, where are we putting the snow? I have no idea. Exactly. We all need blowtorches or something.
Well, in fact, they don't want people even to push the snow into to Lake Ontario because it's not clean snow. So, you run out of places to put them. And if they ever found a place to put them and built it up, I think we'd have snow there until July, because it would take a long time to melt all that snow. So, oh my gosh, guys, it's and this has been tough. And we did have that melting period in January, but boy, we've had nothing but snow since that period. And hey, I think it's not going to stop. I mean, there's not an allotment of flakes, and nature says, okay, stop snowing on Toronto. We've had too much. No, it could keep coming. Now, the annual total record, I think, is around 200, 210. And we have so far 151 centimeters of snow. So, hey, that may be the next record that we want to break. But we're still, right now, normally we should have had 59 centimeters. We've had 150. So 2.5 times the amount of snow that we normally would get. That's what we're faced with now. And we already have 35 centimeters more than the annual total on average. So every flake we get now is just adding to that total.
Love it.
It's a conversation piece, but it's not helping.
All right, Environment Canada senior climatologist Dave Phillips, thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.
All right, 5:53, -10. Watch it live at 5.
And coming up, our Toronto City Councillor is floating a possible opening date for the long-awaited Eglinton Crosstown LRT. A Toronto City Councillor is floating a date for when the Eglinton Crosstown LRT could finally open.
Yeah, Josh Matlow putting it out there, posting on social media that it looks like the line will get up and running on February 8th. However, the TTC isn't confirming that timeline, saying only that it hasn't announced an opening date yet. Matlow's comment comes after Premier Doug Ford said the LRT could open early next month. It was originally scheduled to open in 2020, but has been plagued by delays, lawsuits, and safety issues.
And with that, it's now 5:59 minus 10. This is Toronto's breaking news, CP24.
A cold warning has been issued for the city of Toronto. Thanks for watching. CTV News at 6 is next.